The idea is to tell a story so that we can be liberated, not so that we can be stuck. So there's a few things we will want to look at here. But let's first look at the 5th step process itself. Admitted to God, whatever your word is or concept is of that, to ourselves and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. Or as I put it, the nature of our mistakes. So we make mistakes. Everybody here on the planet Earth makes those mistakes. We make mistakes. Everybody. We didn't come here not to make mistakes. We came here to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes so that we could learn and grow. Grow along spiritual lines, grow closer to ultimately truth, capital T, truth. As you tell a story to somebody, first of all, your intention and motivation behind telling that story here in this 5th step is, I choose to tell you this story. I choose to reveal to you what I have found. The first reason is because we want to make sure to have a wise, kind person's input into our findings. It's not that we don't trust ourselves to interpret the data, but it's a little bit like going to the gym by yourself versus having a trainer at the gym waiting for you. Now, in my 54 years, I have to tell you that when the trainer is pushing me for an hour, I'm going to go a little further than if I go by myself. Don't know why it is. I may make the commitment every time. I'm going to go as hard as I can, like a trainer was training me, but it never quite seems to work that way. This is a little bit like that. We want to have the counsel and the interpretation of a person who has been through this process already. We want to have that interpretation. A sponsor, who is typically the person that we express our story to, is someone who has been through this process already, for they have told their truth to their sponsor or their trusted person, whoever that was. And they have that experience of sharing intimate and powerful details about their sacred experience with someone else. First thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we're seeing clearly. So, for example, someone might express, well, I found a resentment towards a parent of mine, and I was able to see that the resentment came because my parent was neglectful of me as a child. I came to understand that, and I came to really feel justified in feeling the way I felt. And so I decided that there was really no reason for me to resolve this resentment, because it's a resentment that I really felt like I should have this one, because anybody who was neglected like I was by my parent should have this resentment. And that would be an example of a misunderstanding of this process and a misunderstanding of the point. The point here is to be free of all resentment, negativity, all the things that keep us out of the sunlight, right? The fancy language is the sunlight of the spirit. All the things that block us from that. And we know that if we hold on to self-righteousness, especially when it comes to resentment and anger, that doesn't ultimately serve us, that we can't ultimately be free. And so that's the point in the 5th step, when a sponsor would say to you, let me reframe that for you. Your goal is to be free. Your goal is to forgive. That's the point when the sponsee says, I don't want to forgive. I don't think the behavior was correct. I don't think they were correct in their behavior. And that's when the sponsor says, we don't forgive to pardon somebody. We forgive so that we can be free. That's why we forgive. So we're trying to understand ourselves at a very deep level and to release all the baggage and to really become enlightened. What I mean by enlightened is to move into a state of greater light, more light in our life, to be lighter, for example. So we go through this process and we tell the story because we need interpretation of how we interpret our story. It's valuable. We also tell the story so that we can be seen by another. Not seen, not judged and condemned. We need to be seen and to be understood. It's a medicine for us in our soul to be seen and to be understood. Otherwise, we will run the risk of remaining in shame and guilt over our behavior. So I said to my sponsor in one of my 4th steps, I just feel so badly about this behavior. I feel so badly about what I've done. And I feel like I could have done better. And the sponsor said to me, you couldn't, or you would have. And by the way, I mean, in this case, my sponsor said, and I did that same thing myself. And the difference between him and me in that moment was he forgave himself. He had forgiven himself, but I had not yet. So I carried a small burden, a regret. And we kept talking about it. And he said, you are a human being and you make mistakes. And the mistakes that you've made have been a part of your life. Now you're working on learning from those mistakes, not repeating those mistakes, and also showing up to help other people not make those mistakes and also help them work out the mistakes that they have made. This is how it works. And there's a real genius in this. If you see the chain, if you will, the chain of transmission here is infinite. It's infinite, right? It goes from the first teacher to the last student. The first teacher to the last student. The first teacher goes way, way back, way back beyond the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And the last student hasn't happened yet. But you can see through time this beautiful transmission of this beautiful teaching of, I will help you to forgive yourself. I will help you to see your humanity and to be in acceptance of your humanity. I will help you because I will see you. I will see you and I will not condemn you. I will not cast a stone at you. I have been where you are. And I see you and you're worthy of being seen and you're worthy of being heard. And to me, that's love. The medicine of love.